Hi, my name's Matt, and I'm going to be talking to you about something I've been talking about my whole life, or what feels like my whole life anyway. We're going to be talking to you about Sharks hockey. That's the San Jose Sharks, the NHL team I've been in love with ever since their inception in 1991. A team that I was lucky enough with my family to have season tickets for 25 years, um, all before moving out here to the desert in Arizona. And so each week, I'll be giving you my view from outside the tank. Let me talk to you a little bit about why I'm doing this, why I think it'd be fun for me. I'm lucky enough that I have another podcast going right now. It's slang words. It's not very serious. I don't think this will be super serious either. Just something I want to do for fun to kind of talk about the team that I love so much. I grew up going to Sharks games. I've had a lot of important moments revolving around Sharks games. Um, I've also had some very sad moments, like in the first couple seasons, watching them get trounced by Pittsburgh and the Minnesota North Stars. So I've kind of run the gamut. I've seen some bad seasons. I've seen some really great seasons. And I really wanted to start talking about them more regularly as we enter this new phase that I think is going to be like sort of a renaissance for our beloved San Jose hockey team. So how long have I been a Sharks fan? I've been a Sharks fan since inception in 1991. Before that, my dad took me to a couple hockey games, one at the Oakland Coliseum and one down south in Southern California, a Kings game. And so I immediately fell in love with the product on the ice. It's faster, heavier, and more fun than any sport on earth. And I can't think of another sport that will ever be better than that sport for me. I grew up a baseball fan initially, and hockey just completely eclipsed it. We had partial season tickets for 24 years, conveniently right until the year that they made the finals. So that meant I had to spend quite a bit more money to go to the finals in 2016. Even more so because at that point I was already living in Arizona and had to travel back just to see a game. I spent my entire 7th and 8th grade in junior high alternating between No Fear shirts and Shark shirts. I don't know how I had so many of either, but it was a staple of mine for both years. We even had to do a science project in 8th grade, a Rube Goldberg project, and my buddy Scott and I made the entire thing about Sharks hockey. I've seen a lot of fun players come through the doors. I've seen some players that went on to be announcers elsewhere that I'm not so crazy about. I'm looking at you, Brian Hayward. But I was lucky enough to see Artur Zerbe play. I was lucky enough to see Owen Nolan play. I'm basically the same age as Patrick Marleau, so I got to see his entire career, and he is and probably will always be my favorite player. I was lucky enough to see Little Joe and Jumbo Joe. I was fortunate enough to sit behind a guy that really hated Marc-Edouard Vlasic when he came up. So watching Pickles really become the shutdown defender he was during his heyday was very rewarding after all those years of listening to that guy be a complete jerk to him on the ice. And now I'm just excited for the new generation. I'm excited to see what Mac does. Excited to see what Askey does. I'm excited to see what Michael Misa and Will Smith do and Dickinson do. The future looks really bright, and I know it's just an advertising thing for them, but the future, I think, really is teal. I think that we are on the precipice of something special, and this year won't be much, and that's okay. I was really excited just this last year because 2 years ago we were terrible and not fun to watch. And this last year we were terrible and fun to watch. And so I'm looking forward to that next step and seeing what comes from that. I've been lucky to go to some pretty exciting events, Sharks related events. I was at the playoffs in 94, the first year we made the playoffs. I was lucky enough to go to the All-Star game in 97 and sit in 3 different seats throughout the game. But to be there for Owen Nolan's called shot was pretty phenomenal. I was lucky enough to travel back home to go to the Stadium Series game against the Kings with my stepmom. That's definitely a game I'll never forget, and sad that my dad didn't get to go to it also. since he was the one that brought me up on the sport. I was lucky enough to go to a finals game in 2016. It was not the good one. We got trounced pretty good, but at least I can say I was there. I was at Marlowe's game in Vegas where he surpassed the all-time games played mark. Wouldn't have missed that for the world, and was there when he got to retire his jersey. Hopefully someday I also get to be in Toronto to see him inducted into the Hall of Fame like he should be. There are so many other games along the line. I can't remember them all. I remember screaming at all of them. I remember doing a chop in the stands with a round table pizza box. I remember coming home from most games hoarse and a little bit deaf, and that's the way it should be all the time. It's sad right now to look at games on TV and see the arena kind of empty, because I remember what it can be when it's full. And when it's full, there's no other building like it on earth. And I'm so excited to get to the point where that comes back. When these kids get to realize how amazing that building is, when they really hit their stride, I don't even know what to say. It's going to be unreal. Now let's talk about kind of what we're going to talk about on this podcast. I'm not a stats guy. I take that back. I am a stats guy, but I don't understand advanced metrics very well. I haven't studied all that stuff, and maybe over time I'll learn a little bit more, and we'll talk more about it on this. But more than anything, I'm going to want to talk about, the past, the present, and the future of the franchise. I'm going to want to talk about why the future is teal. I'm going to want to talk about the games of the week and how those went, and kind of my eye test of what I was seeing and not seeing. People that know me know that there are certain players, past and present, that I'm not that big a fan of. I think that sometimes we get too tied up in the, excitement quality of a player without worrying about the actual talent of a player. And so I'm excited to make that turn where everybody has true talent. And I'm also going to talk about what kind of changes I think need to be made. It's not always the easiest. Sometimes you have to let some of your favorites go to move the franchise forward. I think that gets lost a lot, and I feel like it happens more than anywhere in the Bay Area. I feel like a lot of times, you hold on a little longer than you should. And, in hindsight, maybe we did that a little bit with the core that we had during the teens. But I'm just excited to see what the future holds for this team. What I want from you guys, I really just want you to, email me or talk to me about things that you want me to address. It's really easy to reach out to me. It's simply viewfromoutsidethank@gmail.com. I want to hear arguments to my viewpoints. I know I'm not always right. I don't always want to be right. I want real input. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. Maybe I'm telling you something you're not seeing, but as much as this is a one-way thing on my part, I want it to be a dialogue. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And I want to hear your thoughts on what you're seeing as you watch Sharks hockey. Are you getting excited about it the way I am? Are you getting frustrated by the same things that I'm getting frustrated by? What is it to you? What do you see those next steps looking like? I'm really excited to start this. I've been talking about it for far too long. I had every intention of putting this episode up before we got to the preseason, but now we're a game in, and I'm excited to start talking about those preseason games and what players to watch and what the future will hold. But more than anything, I'm excited for the 25-26 NHL season. There's no better sport on earth. There's no more fun sport to watch. And I hope you join me for the ride. I know not everybody that is a Sharks fan lives in the Bay Area, just like I don't. So I hope that you stay here for the view from outside the tank.